to the other student, then you can choose not to take the judgment. Just give it back. Just imagine you take it and you just give it back. I'm not taking your judgment. It is yours.
What
It's
school
not
was
mine.
this?
Siso in the
Ah,
La
wow.
Moniara Straat. You know it probably.
Yeah.
It's a very challenging school. Very challenging. 17 years, like
Wow.
it was a battle.
Respect.
But yeah, it taught me a lot, and it brought me to the person I am today. And I cursed a lot during that job because education system and our students, it clashes. It's not so. Students are not doing what they should do because
No.
it's boring. It doesn't suit them anymore.
No.
Brings me to my next question.
Uh-huh.
What do you think about our education system?
Ha,
And tell me about your school career.
my school career. Thing is, I was a very obedient student until my mother passed away. Then I became a bit more rebel because then I didn't really want to listen to teachers.
Yeah.
So I had a very big mouth. But nonetheless, good student, good grades.
Okay.
But I didn't want to sit in school anymore because I just wanted to work and just create my life.
Sure.
But I think from 2017 till 2020, I worked in schools for 3 years
Okay.
with a monologue called Zemermin, Mermaid,
Okay.
and where I spoke about the first time in the Quran school and the first time I got feelings for a boy. And then I talked to the students for 2 hours about religion, sexuality, and gender.
Okay.
And they were like age 15. School system sucks because in a way there are multiple things that I didn't like, which I was confronted with was the bell. Like,
I was in a school that was
it's
this
really-
noise.
yeah,
What
it's
is
really-
that?
And also, someone who is hypersensitive,
Right.
I could really go back into time and imagine like, wow, this was a very intense place because it's 8 times a day you hear this bell. Also, you go from class to class, a lot of
chaos and
yeah, and it's at the same time a lot of chaos, but also a lot of teaching of wrong discipline. Because for me, discipline is something you have to teach yourself. Because in a way, we can also say, look, you all have a clock, you all have a phone. At that time, you have to be there. Why do we need these bells? We're not dogs.
yeah.
And even dogs, you wouldn't use a
yeah,
bell
yeah,
for.
you wouldn't use it. It would
Then
come.
the same time, the way teachers talk to students was for me very confronting because I don't like this way of communicating. I don't think authority should be aggressive and dominant because authority can also be funny and
Really?
chill.
A leader is never dominant.
So it
True
was.
leader isn't dominant.
So those were all things, and also the students even said it. There was, I think, in schools there is too much knowledge. Learn this, learn this, learn
It's too
this.
much information. Huh?
Yeah, learn this, learn
We
this,
cannot-
and now you have to get points. While
Yeah.
I think conversation and really letting them explore, because that's what I did with them. Like,
An
okay, you
experience.
believe homosexuality is wrong. You have
Okay.
every right to believe that, but you do not have the right to discriminate. And then we started talking about discrimination, and then we always went back that these students who were also Muslim were discriminated because they're Muslim. So of course, if they are discriminated by our society and they are not giving opportunity, and then they see gay people who are being hugged to death because, I mean, the last 20 years LGBT rights
Yeah.
in politics have been very popular. So I did understand these students because even in their school there were teachers who were like, "Yo, in die Islam toch, in die Islam toch." And then I also said to the students, like, you can't expect understanding from them for your culture if you're not giving them understanding first.
Yeah.
And I think that's in our school system is taught wrong, but we also get it from home. Like, I'm
But they're
older.
young. Like
Yeah,
they're
but that's for
younger.
me
The
it's wrong
student
because,
has
like,
to be a role model. Start first.
well,
I'm like,
but
start
that's
first.
but that's where the mistake happens because it's like,
I'm like, give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
young and they're foolish.
yes,
You're a teacher. You choose to be a role model.
yes.
Well,
yes,
then
yes.
don't wait for someone to show you.
Maar ja,
Try to
is,
show,
but the
but
thing
it's-
is also students can really
I know.
get on your nerves.
I know.
And also, in a way, you do have a relationship. Because I remember even me with some teachers where really they could not even look at me, or I would be already,
Frustrated.
yeah, or just giving them also something that they would fight me back.
Yeah.
Because that was in my puberty. Yeah, children in their puberty, or little humans as I call them, they go through a very difficult time because
Right.
they're feeling all these things for the first time. They're confronted with a lot
Yeah.
of things. I could really speak in classes and I could really feel some of the boys being attracted to me, but they were straight because in their head it was just very confusing. While attraction and sexuality is just very natural.
Yeah.
Just breathe.
Yeah.
Just let it.
Let it flow.
Yes, don't
Let it flow.
overanalyze
You
it.
want to have a hug? Let's have a hug. And from there, we're going to see.
But I think that's.
Like-
I think even for a woman, it's so difficult to teach. I mean, you as well. You're an attractive woman, so if you teach in front of a class of
It was sometimes in the principal, like he said something about my ass.
yeah,
He said something, and I had
These
students
students.
14, 17, 18.
Yeah.
But it has more benefits than it has
Mm.
downgrades, more benefits,
Mhm.
because especially coming from my culture,
Mhm.
especially looking, I am Moroccan, I'm very traditional Moroccan,
Mhm.
and I did never did I follow the rules at my school. Sorry, Denis Verdonk. Never. I used to sit in meetings and I used to do this. And I used to go to my classroom and I used to say, look, these are our classroom. We decide the rules. Every time again. And I do it now with the world as well. I do
Lovely.
it with the world as well. Because I think that, okay, as long as I don't tell you, why don't you follow the rules and why don't you, let me do what I do best. And that is breaking rules. You know? So it is the education system. I totally agree with you. It sucks. And it needs an upgrade. And it needs people like you and me. And why do I say that? Because you have teachers that are born to teach and that are maybe not teaching. But you can see it. They're born teachers. They educate. They're wise. They know how to bring over wisdom. And you have teachers that are fake teachers. And they are there for the holidays, for because someone told them, for the statute, for I don't know what. And
No, being a teacher is really a calling.
it's
Because
a
otherwise-
calling, right?
Because otherwise, it's
Otherwise, you're
a-
suffering. Otherwise, you're gonna suffer.
yeah, absolutely.
You're
And
gonna
also, I
suffer.
feel there's a lot of pressure on teachers, but also a lot of pressure on students. Even now with
Yeah.
Corona, I really ask myself, so do we really need this 2 times exam, and do we really need, like, you can take shorter tests. You can really organize it better that these students are not like, we're gonna teach you 6 months, and then what you taught in 6 months, we're not gonna take you an exam for it. So it's a very
It's words don't teach. I
Because-
don't believe that words don't
Yeah.
teach. I believe the less tests, the more learning.
yeah, and also in schools, just
It's
especially
not
with
working.
this last year.
Yeah.
If I was a teacher, I would probably have a hard time because all I would want to do is like, okay, let's talk about what is happening.
Yeah.
Because the last year as well, we had Black Lives Matter movement.
Yeah.
We had so many things
Things
going on.
going
There
on.
was someone murdered, and then there was
Yeah.
this. I would really take the time to just talk to my students about like, am I? It's a
Yeah.
lot. What is happening this last year, and how do you feel about it? How you think about it? Because all these things are very personal. Because before you know it, the murderer is Muslim, or this one is this religion, or this one is
There
this
you go.
culture, and it's always politics. And these students are very sensitive for that because they
They
listen to their parents. They
They
hear
don't do these conversations at home, you know.
no, not at all.
Not at all. So
not
it's
at all.
very.
Not
But
at
as a
all.
teacher, you can't do that because you have a certain
Yeah, you have to follow
Plan.
your yeah.
that you have to goals,
Yeah,
that lesson goals that you have to like complete at the end of the. But again, if you're creative, you can get to those goals faster than any teacher, and still have an own way of teaching and an own way of connecting with those.
Because for
Because
me,
you learn faster if you stop talking.
yeah, absolutely.
Stop
And also,
talking.
in an ideal school, I think it's not about how much knowledge you give the students in 1 year, but how much they really
Yeah.
get to know each other and become stronger, confident people. Because even when I went to the schools for 2 hours, if I could make the most popular guy talk to the least popular guy
Yeah.
and connect,
Yeah.
then I would already succeeded actually. Because
yeah.
often those two people don't talk to each other, and what we then see in society later when they
Yeah.
go to work.
Yeah.
I don't talk to. I know gay people are there. I respect them, but I don't talk to
don't
them, and
connect with them.
because I can't be friends with them, and that's
Yeah.
really problematic because our society is becoming super diverse, And of
Yeah.
course, you don't have to be friends with everybody,
No.
but you have to be friendly to everybody.
Yes, you have to be. Kindness is not being taught at schools.
No,
It
absolutely.
kills me.
But I think
It
all
has
of
to
the,
be a
but the same, but because there
Er
I
moet echt een
believe,
vak worden. Kindness,
Yeah.
empathy.
but there I feel like in Moroccan culture, I say
It
this
ha-
a lot.
yeah.
It's much more
But it is. They have
friendliness,
education
solidarity. There,
and they have tarbiyah.
Yeah.
And there's in the tarbiyah, they take the role of the parents and the warmth, and there's empathy, gratitude,
yeah.
and
Because we see
You
that in
see a
Moroccan
difference.
culture when someone is not kind or solidar or even says salam alaikum, we say so هذا مربيش مزيان.
yes,
Because we know,
yeah,
you know what I
Yes,
mean?
yes,
And often
yes.
I miss that really in
I
in
miss that here as
Flanders.
well.
They religion is like we don't believe anymore because they had all these pedophiles. But
yeah.
for me, that's not a reason to throw away religion.
course not.
Dat is zo kind met badwater
Yeah,
weggooien.
yeah,
Because
right.
now I often feel, and this was with all respect to all Flemish people, but often when something terrible happens in the world, then they become solidaire. Like, yeah, we have to help. But if I look at my sisters, I think every 2 weeks they're like, yeah, this woman needs help. They're
Yeah.
always just
It is a
helping and
part
giving.
of your
life.
job
Yeah.
as a human being on
Yeah.
this earth.
Yeah.
Serve other people.
Yeah.
You have to do it weekly. It's like
It's beautiful to see also. And I find that a pity that in Flemish culture it really...
it's not. It isn't.
It's
It's missing.
still
Huh?
there, because of course they also had it, but that's in a way I'm
Charity,
happy.
you know?
That's in a way why I'm happy. Like the Moroccan culture, we said who came to Flanders, and we changed
Yeah.
a little bit, but that side stayed. And I hope it stays for a long time.
Yeah.
The
I
charity-
believe that too. The charity, we do a lot of charity.
Yeah.
It's there. It's a part of a culture.
Yeah,
It's
if
a-
you
it's
cannot
a part
you
of-
cannot not do it, and
Yeah.
if you not do it, then you're just lying to yourself as well.
Yeah.
For me, because for me, doing charity is even organizing this. I had a bit difficulty with it because I don't like to do charity and show to people like, this is how much charity
It's
I
for
done.
you.
So that's why I had a little bit problem with it, but at the same time, it's also it's making people aware of, look, you do know that there are people working while having sex with other people, but they have no social statut, they have nothing to rely on. So in the eyes of our government, they are there's a
Yeah.
gray area. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can do that work, but we're not
Yeah.
going to allow. But for the last year, none of those people had money. They had nowhere to go to. They had no job to go to because nothing of their paper is
We
in
are
order.
talking about the prostitution, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about the prostitution.
But
that they have no legal rights.
Yeah.
That they can fall off
Yeah.
if they're sick, if
Yeah.
they can't work, if they're, I don't know, pregnant, if they're
And
things
also
like
just
that.
and also if they can prove, because often with prostitution we think of the windows and the red lights,
But
but
no, there's a lot of
there's a lot of
yeah.
you have really a lot of kind
Difference,
of prostitution, and also in a way I respect.
You call them sex workers, huh?
Yeah, because for me it's work and their work is sex, so it's just
Okay,
it's a
sex
more
work.
for me
It's-
more
Yeah.
appealing word. And
Yeah.
also
Okay.
all of the people that I talk to and know, it's actually just work. It's like
Yeah,
me
it's
writing
the
an
oldest work.
yeah, it's like
the
me
oldest.
writing an invoice, and also often half of them don't have sex, half of them are almost healing these men by talking to them. And then it's very confusing for me that, why don't we just give them a statute so they can make invoices?
Yeah.
Because they're just actually entrepreneurs. Because, and also,
I am a sex entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
no,
I'm a
but
sex
really,
worker.
and it's
That's great. You're like opening some.
the thing is, I always had,
I never thought about it like that. That's why it's the first time I'm thinking. Yeah.
Yesterday-
Sure, how do they do it?
but how do they do it? And also, it's very important to,
Like.
how did they get there? Because
Yeah.
we often see someone, we see someone on the street drunk, he got himself there.
Yeah.
But actually, that's really not true, because, of course, in life you get yourself in a place or
Yeah.
out of a place or in a better place or in a worser place. Absolutely true. You are the only responsible for where you're going in your life. But we are also given a lot of tools already to get ahead in life. So if
Yeah.
the tools you got were, a father that was actually abusive or alcoholic, or a father or a mother that was already on drugs, or
Then it's very easy to get on that
of
wrong
course,
track.
because they already put
pushing
you on
you.
the track actually.
Yeah.
So to get off that track, it's willpower, it's strength. And also, who said you have to get off the track? Because
Yeah.
say for instance you are doing sex work and you are happy with it, but it's only just too challenging because you cannot really.
It's again a judgment. Eh?
Yeah, so it's.
Everything is just is.
And that's for me,
And
if everything is because in
that's
West
it.
we
Stop.
say we don't have this religion view, but in a way it's still there.
Yeah.
Like in as humans we still look at things on a very judgmental way.
It is a natural thing. It is a natural thing.
You think
Your
it's
brain.
natural?
I think the first thing that you see, you rely your eye, you put your eyes on. Your brains goes make an idea, you know, and it happens automatically. I don't think you can ever shut that down. You can decide how deep you go with that and how often and about what. That is your decision. That is you can control that. But when
But
you
I
see,
think the ideas are also put in our head.
of course, but
So
that's another thing. We have a lot of wrong beliefs,
Yeah.
and I call those memes.
Yeah.
Like I call those really memes. Like one of the women I talked to recently, it's like, oh, I started a business, and I'm like, how do you feel? She's like, oh, it's so overwhelming, and it's like, that's an idea. That's an idea. She's like, oh, I don't understand. So like, what's the difference between a flower and a weed? Like onkruid en een bloem. En ze zegt, ja, onkruid is ja, lekker en nuttig. En een bloem is lekker en lekker ruiken, het ziet er mooi uit en nuttig. En a weed is not, and like, that's a judgment. So the difference between a flower and a weed is a judgment, right? So the difference between you feeling this, it's an idea. And recognizing those ideas on time, and before your brain starts wiring them, because then it happens automatically. That is our job. That's our responsibility.
Well, yes. Well, more can put in the effort in that job. Because there's still a lot, and
Oh my
especially
God.
in our Moroccan culture, where people
So
believe the
Yeah.
wrong belief
yes,
and see their judgment as an ultimate truth.
yes. It's the
and-
virus of the mind. I call that.
Yeah, and also it gives them the permission, or
Yeah.
they give
They
themselves the
think they-
permission
Right.
to be mean,
Yes.
to be discriminating,
Yes.
and to be really very hurtful.
Yeah.
And that's really, for me, that's
That's a
a
no
problem.
go.
Yeah, because
When
also I speak to a lot of young people who are struggling with their sexuality and gender, and
They're having a hard time.
it's not only about having a hard time, because having a hard time is just part of being gay, I think, especially because it's in our world it's still
Oh, that's so painful. Don't say that.
not really, but I
Don't
think
say
what the
that.
most hurtful is really what the surroundings say, actually, because I think in a way what people have to learn most for me now is watch your tongue, watch your tongue, watch your tongue, watch your tongue, because I myself as well often say very hurtful things when I'm in emotion.
Yeah.
But if a young
Temperament.
child is already struggling and comes with something super vulnerable like this, it's better sometimes to say nothing and to say, I'm here for you, we will get through this. But
Then to say you have.
young
I don't
children get
even
the
wanna know.
meanest things that they hear, actually, and it's really not okay. Yesterday also I had a talk with someone about conversion therapy, because in Belgium it's not illegal. And it's really a problem that we still believe that gay is a choice. And I think that's if we really want to see a change, people will have to let go of that belief. Because it's
That's the ultimate question. Eh? I've been having that discussion with a lot of people. I'm like, no, you can see it when they're babies. Sweetie, open your eyes. If you want to see it, you'll see it. You just don't want to see it. I'm going to tell you now, all the children in the family who are going to be gay, I'm going to point them out now for you. I do that a lot. And I start, babies and little boys, eh? I'm like, yeah, you're going to come back. And I swear it is in the genes. Like you can see it when
Absolutely,
it's really,
absolutely.
really, really tiny.
I know.
So if you choose what you believe, and that's the disbelief that we're talking about, and that's not only about gay, that's about themselves too. If you believe that you're not capable, if you believe that you're
Thing is,
limited,
but the funny part, in Morocco, before colonialism and religion was really put in Morocco, because the Arabs have went through what the Christians also did with the Crusades.
Yeah.
Muslim also did that. We also went from country to country and forcefully
Yeah.
forced people to be Muslim.
Yeah.
But before that, Morocco was a place, especially the Amazigh, who was very gender non-conforming. People were just people,
Yeah.
and even the men who were more feminine and the women who were more masculine, they were actually seen as just spirits that were just, you have to leave them alone, and you have to, of course, respect them and talk to them, and they they held actually different knowledge because they were just different kind of people.
Yeah.
And I think with religion and with colonialism, we had this very, no, we have men, we have women, and they have to make babies, they have to make children because we need actually the name. And this is all very young because, in a way, gay people have always been here. I mean, it's not. I hate it when people say like, yeah, it's now a trend and you see it everywhere. No, because we
That's not
finally
true.
have the
We
have the
finally have the
safety and the
voice.
freedom. We
Yeah.
finally have the safety and the freedom to say like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm here.
It's not like
It's-
we multiplied. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same with you see a lot more women now at CEO seats, and like, yeah, because they finally have representation, so they finally believe that, hey, but I can also become a CEO.
Yeah.
So it's so wrong to say, there are so many gays now. No,
Yeah.
there's this. I think there are so many still not out of the closet. I think there are so many people who are still living a double life, having a
Yeah.
wife and going to gay clubs, and which I have no judgment over because I'm not the one who has to carry that guilt.
And
But I do believe, and I hope,
the heaviness.
yeah, and I really hope and believe that people will be more honest about their sexuality, and that sexuality is just what it is. I mean, we all know how it is to feel horny, and we all know what the satisfaction is of just sharing sex with someone,
Yeah.
and where it's consent.
Yeah.
So who gives a fuck if it's two men, two
Who is
women,
it?
or a
Who
man or a
is-
woman? Because if those two people agreed on it,
let it go.
yeah.
Let it go.
Because for me also, it's funny, and that's the last about religion. When people talk about Lot and about, yes, but he's prophet, and for me, I don't read it, gays are haram. For me, I read it, consent is absolutely mandatory. If you have sex with someone, the other person has to give you permission
Yes.
to have sex with them.
Yes.
That is the only rule for me.
Yes.
For the rest, knock yourselves out, have a lot of fun.
That's the advice, guys. That's the
No,
advice.
but really, but it has,
Knock
and also,
yourself out.
and we see this now a lot. And I also have had moments where I try to seduce someone, and then you don't know. We all know these moments where you know,
yeah.
okay,
Oh my
am
God, fear of rejection. Is it
Yeah.
okay? Like,
but if the both people allow it, then both people allow it, and there's no problem. And then it's not about, is it two men, is it two women, is it a man, a woman? Then that's again your judgment about it.
yes, of course. And then
And don't give me this bullshit about, yeah, but we are made to put babies on the world. We are not made to put babies on
oh
the world.
no, we are not.
I'm
I don't
sorry.
believe that as well. Like I've put babies, and I'm not made. I've put babies and I'm not made. So let me say that. Like it is that's not at
No.
all what I believe in. Like
think
we're not.
if you-
It's choice.
Yeah, and if you take that choice, I find it a very brave choice because
Yeah.
your life is not only about you anymore.
Not at all.
So-
not at all. It's a very brave choice.
Yeah.
And that's very well.
But
And you have
I-
to be ready.
I find it hard where people are like, yeah, no, this is life. You have to find a partner. You have to get kids. You have to,
No, I know just hetero couples that decide not to have children, and a lot of them. I have brothers that decide not to have children. My father's
wow.
going crazy.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Like, why? I don't want this. They go. I come from a family of 12 children.
I don't want
My brothers
this.
decide not to have children. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, that's crazy.
And like no, and they're still.
Yeah.
And one of them got married, and then I told you we're not gonna have to, like, to the wife, and the wife yes, and after a few years she was like, and I was like, told you,
Yeah.
and they split up. It's
Oh.
like a decision that he made, like I don't want to have children, so it's a choice, and you have the right to design your own
Absolutely.
marriage and design your own life, as long as you stop pointing and stop hurting and be kind and serve other people. That's what's about for me. Your biggest fear.
My biggest fear.
Yeah.
My
biggest
good
fear.
question. My
Take your
biggest
time.
fear,
Take
yeah.
your time.
No, thing is, I think I already really, of course, I still have sometimes, like now, I'm very fearful because the future seems very insecure because it's like not my future because I have plenty of work, but just the future of like where is our society going? How are
Yeah.
we going to
Yeah.
deal with all the problems that there are in our society? Because now I still see a lot of people just arguing instead of listening.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm afraid for that. But I'm someone who really looks fear straight in the eyes because I didn't do it for a long time. Like
Yeah.
I didn't see my father for 9 years.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I went back, I really every time just saw that fear in the eyes. So I really, I'm very grateful for my relationship with my father and how I talked to him as an adult and as a human being with a lot of respect for what he gave me, but at the same time with also respect for
For yourself.
myself because I also had lived 9 years without him and I was doing actually great.
Okay.
So so I'm afraid for a lot of things because I know fear lives inside of me, but I'm very aware of it because I think
Okay.
that's what really created my life
Yeah.
for now because fear is also really the worst advisor. Like, should I
Yeah.
go to this party even? I know because that person is there now, I'm gonna not go.
You're missing
Because
some.
sometimes you need to go to have that confrontation with that person
Yeah.
to realize, it's
Not
okay.
that
I forgive
bad at
you. You
all.
forgive me. And because fear is really a very funny thing. It can lock you up and
Paralyze you.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and makes you stop.
So I'm
and
very aware of it when I feel it.
When you have it. When you
Yeah, and
feel
I'm
it.
also not afraid to talk about it because I see this a lot often with men when you even ask them like, oh, they're nervous about something and they're like, are you afraid? No, I'm not afraid. Why should I be afraid?
Oh yeah.
And it's like
It's like the guards is
yeah,
out.
it's like no, of course it's perfectly normal to be afraid because if you only see all the bad news you get, I even believe that a lot of people don't know that they're operating out of fear. Like,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
they're-
Panic and fear, huh?
yeah,
It's obvious.
so it's like, and I'm very aware of that, and I also
Trauma
say that
reactions.
to really say to okay, shit, I'm feeling this way,
Yeah.
and it's often just a way of just calming myself down. Like, wait, why am I afraid? Yeah, can I do something about it? No. Can I let it go for now? Yes. Then, for me, it has been very important to be my own father and mother. So that's why I'm
Okay.
very
Trained on recognizing emotions.
yeah because I did not
accepting
have
them.
this as a kid. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I was super, and it's no judgment to my parents because I often get a lot of reactions like you do not respect your parents because you talk to
But
them about it. But
no.
I always think to
Is it
myself,
not important
sorry.
that we just, oh, I have the same thing, I have that? I'm like, no.
No.
We're just saying
Yeah.
that these were the things that happened.
Yeah,
I
we're
didn't
just
say you're a
acknowledging.
bad parent.
No. So I
We're
had
just-
great parents, but it was not the parents that were had the time and the space to really understand like, okay, you're crying, why are you crying, what is
Right.
wrong, okay.
It's a lot. It happens a lot.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Yeah, and also especially as boys, it was like,
Stop crying.
yeah, you cannot
your
cry.
tears.
Yeah, so it's really something that I took with me because then when I lost my mother, I didn't allow myself to cry.
Okay.
So and then in my 20s, I cried a lot, thank God, because it's very important to acknowledge all our emotions.
Yeah.
I think we often like to put our best
Yeah.
and we have to always be happy and everything is great and we
It's
stay positive.
vulnerability. We're just afraid to be vulnerable.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that comes out of fear and shame.
Mm-hmm.
Fear and shame are one of the strongest emotions
Mm-hmm.
that could lock you up, and it's
Mhm.
all because we're ashamed.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's because you feel
Absolutely.
some guilt. Again, you feel some guilt.
Mm-hmm.
Jaouad, in one word.
Jaouad, in one word, generous.
Uh,
But that's really the meaning of my name.
and it is how you are as
Generous.
well, like how you see yourself as well.
Yeah, actually,
Yeah, I have the feeling that you're generous. That's not the point, but
the thing is,
Is
I'm
that-
really hard on myself, and
Yeah.
not in a way as in shame and guilt,
No.
but really as in
achievement.
yes, and also I because one, there's nothing wrong with ambition. Two, I'm not doing this for myself, because I know there are a lot of people that want to stand out and want to be extravert and want to be actually showing all of their sides. So I know often like, okay, I'm built for this. I will do it because I have a
I was born to do this.
yeah, in a way I really start to believe that more and more,
You
because
have to believe it because you said
Thank you.
earlier. You said earlier that you were tired.
well, yes, but
You
it's
know why you're tired? Because your calling is higher.
mm.
You're tired because your calling is higher.
Oh, thank you so
You have
much.
to work harder. You have to feel because you're making a way for all the other person. That's why you're tired. And if you know that and you acknowledge it and like, okay, actually I'm grateful for this role.
I am absolutely. I am. I think sometimes I just think I can do the role better. That's often because, especially with getting older, it's not only about saying good things or being, but it's really about embodying.
Being.
Yeah.
It's not about doing, and
No.
it's not about saying. If you are what you want to bring out, that's the best thing you can do. Because then you don't have to say anything. You just have to be.
Yeah.
So just focus on you, and you're doing a great job, and you don't have to be better. Better is a
Maybe a
stupid
little.
word. No, better is. I don't like the word.
Well, I don't know.
better.
Well, not better, but like in performance-wise, like
You're gonna get better the more you
absolutely. No, I know.
you give yourself. You're elevating yourself every time again. Every time that you're kind and soft to yourself, and you create a space, you're gonna elevate yourself, and then you're gonna.
Do you want to be my mommy?
I am. I am your mother in a way. We're connected. We're connected.
No, absolutely.
We are connected in a way,
Absolutely.
and we are all connected. But it takes one to know that you're
Yeah,
connected.
absolutely. And it takes also vulnerability, because you told me about your story with your
Yeah.
father and your hijab.
Yeah.
Because I think that's also the thing. We have to be vulnerable, but at the same
Yeah.
time, it's always we have to introduce ourselves to the other
Yeah,
without hoping that the other will not judge us.
yeah. But I let that go. Like, I just decide not to take the judgment because I cannot control other people, and the judgment will stay.
Absolutely.
So I choose not to take the judgment, and I choose that I'm not gonna feel guilty,
No.
and I'm not gonna be ashamed, and I am super grateful that I could be here. And
Yeah,
I could
thank
do
you for
with
this
you.
conversation.
Your energy is amazing.
Thank
It's
you.
contagious. Hi everyone. Bonjour. That is yeah.
Oh,
Go.
he's
go.
my master.
Hello. Hi. It's a wrap, I think.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you. You're amazing. Thanks, Vlad.
Zalig.
Thanks, Alice.
Waar kom jij in Antwerpen? Waar zit jij?
Ik ben eigenlijk geboren in Antwerpen, in Hoboken.
Ah,
Ken jouw zusjes ook?
Ah.